Am I trying to get away? Or am I at ease? And just be honest with yourself. If you're not, that's okay. Be honest. Take a breath. Close your eyes. Do I feel at ease? Am I at peace? And if not, start to affirm that. Start to, if you're into yoga, I love yoga. I feel like it's so beneficial to help humans that are very much either in their physical form and too attached to their bodies and their minds, or they're very much in their spirit and they're not grounding their energy in their body. This practice will benefit all of those situations. And meditation is our accessing point where we channel the divine. This is how we know self. And when I know I am one with Source, I am in my alignment. There's nothing wrong. There's no dis-ease. There's no resistance. There's just complete surrender and presence. And this is the most powerful place that each of us has an opportunity to align with every day, every conversation. When we're in yoga, just listening deeply in meditation, we have this ability to connect to higher consciousness in a way that will really benefit our life. And then we become messengers of that wisdom to help others. And we inspire them just because we actually are understanding that and we're living that. Does that make sense?
Cherokee adds, my source is Ariel and Metatron.
Mm-hmm. She's very connected with those angels.
Yeah, she said she's on the right track, though. Mm-hmm. If you're not of a high vibration people, you will never understand this.
Well,
and I just want to make one observation here.
Yeah.
When I said hello, and Cherokee says, "Hey, can't talk much, driving." I don't want you texting and driving.
Yeah, Cherokee. No. Yeah, and in essence, let's be honest with that moment. Texting and driving, talking about the spiritual wisdom, and not really maybe as present in the vehicle driving, that's a sign. And that actually, not saying there's anything going to go wrong with that, but this is where sometimes we can be kind of so in this vibration that we're not really grounded in the solid physical reality that we're in. And we want to really balance the two. If I feel like when I'm in this physical world and very present, then I'm going to be much more aware and present in this dimension. But at the same time, I can access higher consciousness that can guide me and help me foresee what's coming, help me kind of navigate in a much bigger, expanded perspective than I would have if I just thought I was Tanya in a little body. And so a lot of what she's talking about is when you're getting into this place where you're opening up to the divine, Source starts to channel this higher wisdom and understanding. And what she's talking about, DNA stranding and all that, that's the stuff that I'm working on in the Auric clearings, is the human DNA strands actually shifting. Our cells are shifting. We are becoming more light, higher frequency, higher vibration. That is very true. But just, that, understand, that's happening, and just be here present. Just really be solidly present and grounded. And I just feel it's going to help you with that feeling of stuckness, because there's almost like, I can see people kind of in a hurry, like, I need to get enlightened. I need to get more enlightened than they are. I need to be, in this certain understanding more than they are. And this can be a sneaky way our ego can come in and kind of cause us suffering and cause us to not really be present. And if we're not really honoring that we need to just be present and be here, and we get caught up even in our higher consciousness understanding, and we kind of, let's say, daydreaming. We can daydream of what we wish the world were. That's beautiful, and practice that. Practice that in meditation. See what you're ready to bring into birth. See what you're ready to birth into creation. You're ready to manifest. Metatron's an amazing angel to work with on manifestation, but at the same time, we want to be here, and we want to channel and access that, like you said, anchoring it. You're anchoring that consciousness into the physical dimension, and then you take action to create that change. So if a soul is really more connected and they like being in their, crown chakra and they love meditation, but maybe they're not really in their body, they're not taking good care of their body, they're kind of wanting to get out of it, they will feel a sense of suffering. If a soul is only in their physical body and they're an athlete and they're running, they're working their hard, body is pounding them hard, but there's no honor to higher consciousness, there's no connecting to source, they just deny that that could even be out there, there's going to be suffering. If a soul is very intellectual, I just watched the movie, what was it called, Ron? If you think of it, Ron, type it in. It was a story about Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawkingson, is that his name?
Hawking.
Hawking, okay, that's right. Stephen Hawking, and a very intelligent human, but what an amazing story of how his body just fails him, and he just has no control over his body, but brilliant mind. So this is another example of looking at that soul. There's things going on in there. There's soul contracts he's got going on. There's choices that he called forth for obstacles of his journey. But then there's this deep intelligence and an expansiveness to the universe, but cannot really access it into the physical body. And that could show that there is some disruption there where there's not a grounding of it. It's almost like an escapism energy, and it's actually creating a physical problem or situation.
The theory of everything.
The theory of everything. Thank you. It was a really great film if you're interested in watching it. But back to self-love. All of this that we're talking about, we will strengthen through self-love and through practicing listening. Archangel Ariel, Archangel Metatron, those are angels that I had coming to me, calling me into service. And they are amazing angels. But our source consciousness, it's even bigger than that. They're the highest aspects of ourself. These angelic beings are helping us remember who we really are, but we're not meant to just disappear into invisibility unless that's what your goal is, and then I guess you're going to do that. But I feel we're here to actually be in a physical plane and experience, but keep our radio tuned in to Angel 101. We're listening to Mothership and listening to the guidance while we walk around and navigate this planet, and while we bring healing to this planet, while we bring wisdom and awareness to the humans on this planet. But we have to be very grounded and centered, take good care of our spacesuit, because if we don't, it's just like if you watch a space film and they show the people out in space and their suit gets messed up and they can't breathe, they die. This is our spacesuit. Our human body is our spacesuit, and if we don't take good care of it, I've seen spiritual people who say they're spiritual leaders or psychics who take terrible care of their bodies. They don't nurture their bodies. They don't really love themselves. But then they're trying to tell everybody else how to live because they have understanding in an intellectual way from angels of what we're here to understand. But we really, the highest alignment, again, is us aligning with that. Us, mind, body, soul, in alignment. Us taking good care of the physical form. Us taking great care of the mind. Being mindful. I had a mom ask me, can you just talk to the people on your show, or can you talk publicly about these drugs? Because a lot of these teenagers are feeling really guided to go do these hallucinogenic drugs and things, and she was really concerned. And I was like, you know what? I totally hear you on that. I have never practiced them. I do not practice, working with ayahuasca or peyote, or there's so many of them now, mushrooms and different drugs. Some kids are doing ecstasy and acid and all this stuff. And from the healer perspective and from tuning into angels and source, what I get is that these things are completely not our power. And what happens is when souls, even on a spiritual path, want to feel justified in their addiction to something, then they will suddenly say, I'm on a fast, I want to be a breatharian and I'm just going to breathe air. And that's great. But when I watch them, I'm just speaking from actual experience. When I watch humans in the space, they deny their bodies any food. They deny their bodies any kind of pleasure, any kind of freedom. They're here in the form to experience. So then they have a shadow side and they lash out. And then when they come back, they overeat everything and they kind of do crazy behind the scenes behavior sexually and things like that, because you're suppressing a very normal function and need that your body has. And so if we're doing hallucinogenics, and our goal is to connect with source, and we're like, wow, when I did those mushrooms, I really think I saw the angels out in the trees. And maybe you did see things in a new perspective than what you see when you're in your physical body and you're very solid and grounded. But the trick is you can now become addicted to that feeling, and you need that thing to access source. And I'm going to say to everyone listening, 100% that is not necessary. Because if that was necessary, then I would have to be doing it. And I channel angels all the time, and I channel source all the time, and I'm listening and tuning in all the time. And I do not use anything except for meditation. I practice stillness and listening, deep listening. The reason so many of the young kids are so drawn to these drugs and things is because they've been raised in this generation of quick fix. They want to get information and go and research something, Google it. Boom, got the information. I want to have something, for dinner, deliver it. Boom, it's on its way. I want to date somebody. Let me go find somebody online. Oh, there's my date. Everything is like quick fix in this society right now. And the danger to that is that some of the most beautiful experiences we'll have, an artist that creates a beautiful masterpiece, it did not happen quickly. A mother that births a child, it's a process. You cannot speed that up. A relationship that's truly strong in its foundation often started as a friendship that was, cultivated through the years into a beautiful, deeper relationship. So some of what we deeply need and want at a soul level is the practice of presence and patience. That's what our souls really want to remember. But a lot of us have been so trained in ego to want the quick fix that we completely deny the part of the journey that is actually why we came. We came here for the journey. So if we're here and we're wanting the quick fix to spirituality, we want to take a drug, we want to experience, man, blow my mind, I need an experience, keep me entertained. That's your ego. And your ego is never going to be satisfied. So now that quick fix that you're doing with mushrooms is going to lead to something bigger and bigger. And this is very dangerous because the way I look at it, if we honor body, mind, and spirit, the mind is like the motherboard of our computer. And inside the mind is how, if we keep that all fresh and healed and healthy and whole, we open the moonroof of the mind, we access higher consciousness. If we scramble the brain and we start to disrupt our motherboard, so imagine you just bang with the hammer on your keyboard of your computer, and then you're like, shit, the J and the K do not work anymore, and I cannot write a sentence, I can't complete something because there's this glitch, or suddenly I drop my computer and now it's doing this weird stuff and it just randomly will shut off and things will happen. This is what happens to humans that mess with drugs, that put things into their brains, that disrupt their brains in ways that they have no clue of how much that could really be affecting them. And they do it because they want a quick fix to source. But really, the fastest alignment with your source, that breath, connection, listening, presence, meditation. And it may sound boring to many of you because you've been so used to the fast lane. So pulling off to the country road seems kind of boring to someone who's on the speedy raceway of life. But the speedy raceway of life has its consequence. You stay on there too long, you get exhausted, you burn out, other cars come and hit you or run you off the road. It's very competitive. It's a lot of chaos. And pulling off to the side on that country road and pulling over and going for a walk and then sitting in front of a pond and just feeling the wind and listening to the birds, and suddenly you know what to do in your life. You suddenly have greater realization. That's what I'm talking about. And that is what each of us at a deeper place are really calling out for. And these quick fixes are not going to help us. And we have to really be mindful not to become attached to the tools, whether it's crystals, whether it's a healer, whether it's a book that we're reading and we learn something, whether it's astrology or astronomy or anything. If we're getting addicted to something and then we deny everything else because this is all that is, we get attached to our crystal. Oh my God, I'm having a shitty interview. I left my crystal at home. The truth is, the most powerful part of your day is from your own alignment with your source. And your own alignment with source comes from your own confidence, your own peace, and your own presence in your own being. And so if you're on your way to an interview and you're very present and you're maybe no music and you're just breathing and you're just like, angels, I'm calling you in. Universe, support me. I'm visualizing how powerful I will be, an asset to this company. I am so excited and eager for my new position. And if this is for the highest good for my life to have this job, I am ready. And I say thank you and yes. And then you just walk in with your